Right, we're going to go over just a number of tips and tricks today to try to move things a little bit faster for you on your normal workflow. So we'll start off with some kind of camera view stuff. So camera shortcuts can be found here. If you go to the shortcut button, you'll see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will change camera views. Camera 1 is the first person camera view, and O on your keyboard is the orbit camera view. It always defaults to orbit camera, so when you first start off, if I hit the O key, it will go to here, and that way you can kind of orbit around everything. If you zoom out, you'll kind of go above the ceiling like this. And another thing that you can do is click on any object that you might want to focus in on, and either hit this zoom key button or F on your keyboard, and that will focus in or sort of like zoom your whole camera into that object, and then you can orbit around that object as well. So that's a tip there. And then to go along with more camera view stuff, if you go into views and then saved over here, you can start setting your camera views. So the best way to set camera views is in the first person camera view. You can do it in the orbit view, but we have it set up right now to work better in the first person camera view, because when you're in the first person camera view, if you zoom out on your mouse wheel by mouse wheeling out, you get a wider camera angle lens. If you can see this, basically your camera angle lens can adjust from your zoom wheel. And then you can move your camera around from the AWSD keys on your keyboard right here. And so once you have a camera view that you want, you basically just hit this plus sign, and that'll save the camera view that you're currently on. And then you can move around to something else and hit the plus sign again to get another camera view. So I've set up a bunch of different camera views here. So if I go to this last one, it's got a wide angle view that I set earlier. And then if I kind of go to jump around, I can see different camera angles. So what you can do is when you're kind of working on your project, you can create these camera views, which will allow you to jump around quicker so that you can see the whole room and go back to maybe like the middle of the room and so forth. And then you can always go back to the center by hitting O on your keyboard, and then just start editing again that way. So that's some options for cameras. There's also in the camera menu right here, you can, if you use the first person camera view and set a bunch of different camera angles, you can actually create a animation which will basically hide everything on your screen, and it will create an animation which flies through the different camera views that you had set earlier. It has to be set from the first person camera views, but to work correctly, but it can create a kind of cool fly-through animation so that you can possibly send to your client an animation instead of just still renderings. This option right now doesn't have an export feature, so you can't export the video animation, but for now what you can do is just do a screen record of the animation. So basically you would want to go into full screen mode and then start recording the screen. All right, looking at a couple other things, we have added a little bit more detail to some of the seating options. So if you click on some tables that you set through the build seating option, so if you set a bunch of banquet tables here, there's a little bit more detail that you can go into. So you can go into decor, and you can change what centerpiece is on the table like this. Another thing with seating is for, let's say, classroom seating styles, we just have a certain number of, let me delete these guys first, of seating sizes here. And so if you don't see the size that you want, sort of one thing that you can do is go into the top view here and just select one of these, maybe ungroup the whole group, select one of them, and then either scale the table to be the size that you want, if you want it to be like 18 inches or something like that. And for now, that's kind of a workaround to be able to get tables to be the exact size that you want. And so yeah, we're adding more tables, but that's just a way to get your tables to be the exact size that you want if you wanted something different. Some other things are just Gobo functionality. So if you click on a moving light here, you do have a number of options over here that you can change. So you can change the Gobo rotation. You can change, if you go into lighting and then patterns, you can change the gobos to some preset ones, or you can add your own gobo through the add image button here. And obviously you can change colors as well, and all sorts of stuff like that. And see anything else here. I mentioned settings before, but I'll say it again. So the setting option is defaulted to this option, and if you want in your final renderings to get a little bit higher resolution, you can go to this. If you ever experience the program kind of slowing down, you can go down to the lowest option here, which will make the rendering look a little bit blurrier, but it'll up your frame rate a bit. And then when you finally go to render your final renderings out, you can switch it back to high and then create your rendering here.